this channel, we don't really talk about Audis very much, and that's not because I particularly dislike them, but they don't really appeal to much of my audience. But when I get offered a test drive in something like this, I don't say, no thank you, I'd rather poke my eyeball out with a rusty spoon with a wooden handle. No, I say, yes please. And that's because I like cars. This is a car channel, and I'm all up for having my mind changed about any car. My only beef with Audi is, generally speaking, they make cars for people who should have a 9 o'clock curfew. But the A1 is slightly different. Unlike the A3, which is generally driven by the kind of person you really don't want behind you, the A1 has a very different set of customers. When you see one of these knocking about, your assumption isn't there's something dodgy going on, but a young person who has a job. That may well be enough of the stereotyping. Let's just get on with it. Audi in particular seems to be very keen on having a family face, so all of the cars look kind of the same. There's no real radical design styling going on. There's nothing about them that makes you think, oh, why did they do that? It's just, oh yeah, it's a small one, or it's a medium-sized one, or it's a big one. So what is the Audi range? Let's have a quick think about this.
A 1, a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, a 8, Q2, Q4. Bollocks, this isn't working.
Yeah, and they're all pretty much the same car. Or are they? Yeah. So if we just look at the standard cars they do, we can probably understand why the A1 is so much more likeable. It's a toddler of a car. It's innocent. It hasn't really done anything wrong. Whereas the A3 has definitely got into that being a bit obnoxious stage, maybe at about 10. The A4, that's the teenager. Say no more. The A6, on the other hand, is a grown-up and is professional. And the A8 is the matriarch of the family. You can't not like the person who's properly in charge, especially when that person does it quietly and calmly. So we have the distinctive Audi grille and the Audi circles and the Audi face and the smooth lines and the nothing too awkward anywhere. There's not much to say about it. It's inoffensive. It doesn't catch your eye. It blends into the background everywhere you go. And that blending into the background, I believe, is part of Audi and Volkswagen's success. Because, like the colour, that's how people are these days. They don't really want to be seen. They want to be somewhat anonymous. Now, that's one of the reasons why the A3 has always done so well, because you can drive it like a complete pillock, and unless the person you've really pissed off got your registration plate, they're never going to recognise your car again anyway. It's perfect for road rage and driving like a prick. I suspect I shall set off driving this car and almost forget I'm driving it, because it's just, well, these dangly bits are going to get in the way a bit of the camera. Can't really start taking someone's car apart, but I might have to. There's the engine, which is a TFSI lump, and that big gap there looks like there should be a battery, but I guess it's in the boot, and the boot isn't going to be that big. Plus, I know it's full of stuff. This is the 1.4 turbo, which means it has 140 brake horsepower, which is quite a lot for a small car. Now, I do like a clamshell bonnet, and I really like these hinges. Look at those. That's a cool feature. I like that. When we open up this boot, we will see something interesting, and that is that, see, the complete tail lamps are incorporated into the boot, and that means that if you're parked somewhere with the boot up, there will be no lamps on display. So they've had to do this thing where they bung some other lamps on the inside like that. I've seen that on a Vauxhall. It looks weird. And if you squint, it kind of looks a bit like a Fiat 500. But the Fiat 500's got a smaller boot, and you'd never get all that lot in there. What I often do is climb into the back of a car to see what it's like as a passenger. And I can say I don't think this would be that comfortable, really, because it is incredibly small. Just about enough knee room there, but I'm sat bolt upright, and the headrest is not where my head is, it's where my shoulders are. To make a small car compromises have to be included. It's not a family car at all. From the driver's perspective, it's not too bad. Although I do need to put the seat back quite a bit further because I'm not really in man position currently. The whole of the interior is typically Audi, really. It's just nice quality materials and nothing too flashy going on. Thick pillars for safety, and in the front, some headroom, which is handy. We have all of the things pretty much where you'd expect to find them. These feel nice. They don't feel quite as nice as they would do in a bigger Audi, I don't think. The stereo, I instantly knew how to switch it off. And the air vents, these are cool. I like these air vents with that little dial in the middle there that you can switch your air on or off. And a cradle getting in the way of the hazard light switch. We also have traction control, 4 electric windows, and a little screen in the middle for the radio. Looking on the dashboard there, we can see what looks like 3 plastic water bottles, and the steering has just a little bit of weight to it. Oh wow, Radio 1. No wonder I switched it off so quickly. I have very often said that all new cars drive pretty much the same, and with that it becomes almost pointless doing any kind of car review because it's just going to be the same as the last one. But I'm promised something a bit different with this. Many car reviews are boring because they just give you all the details, like reading off a Wikipedia entry verbatim. What's the point in that? You could just read that yourself. So I'm not going to tell you about this car's resale value because it'll change within a couple of weeks or a month or so. I'd like this to be relevant in 3 years. Either a 1 litre 3-cylinder, a 1.2 4-cylinder, a 1.4 4-cylinder like this one, and a 2 litre 4-cylinder not like this one, plus 2 diesels, 1.6 and 2 litre. So this only being a 1.4, I'm not really expecting it to be lightning quick or anything, but it should pick its feet up okay because there are 2 others that have smaller engines. So my assumption is this will be adequate. Oh, I should use the heater. Petrol cars are great for heaters, and it's a cold day, and I can get away from that cold feeling by switching the heater on. Something you can't do in a diesel very often. One thing I'd like to say straight away actually is the steering doesn't have that same kind of can't be arsed feel about it that many modern cars do. There's not so much can't be arsed, but just you don't really feel the road, quite a lot of the road actually. It's difficult not to do a lot of the time because the roads are so shocking everywhere. You find yourself wheeling about like an old lady at a 70s disco trying to reclaim her youth. I'm going to take this car up the hill. That's hill without an H. To see how it goes up the hill in a high gear. Being a small engine, you wouldn't really imagine you're going to get much torque, but it has a turbo, and turbos are great for torque. Gear change isn't quite as dull as I was expecting either. I'm not saying I started off with the idea of this being a really dull car, but I wasn't prepared to be excited either. But I'd like it if I was. Oh yes, I would indeed. This car has a 6-speed manual box. Some of them have a 5. Some of them have 7. Look up ahead there, we see a hill. And up this particular hill, I like to challenge a car's torque by seeing if I can go up in 5th gear, but this one has another gear. So although it's pulling quite well at the moment in 5th gear, when I pop it into 6th, will it carry on doing the same thing? Right? Because although it's a small car, it is an Audi, which means it's going to be heavy. The doors certainly feel quite heavy. I was actually quite impressed by the door shut sound of this car, although I didn't make such a big deal of it. Let's go into 6th gear and see whether it'll carry on. It's carrying on going. Oh, that's not bad actually. At this point, you'd find yourself getting a bit bogged down. The only thing that's slowing me at the moment is this Volkswagen Passat. Slowed me down to 40 and it's still pulling okay. I'm impressed by that. That's really good. Yeah. Well done, car. My own 1.4 litre car can't come up here in 5th gear. It couldn't pull the arm off a rotting zombie. So far, so good. I like it a bit more than I was expecting. It's not a bad little car actually. It's sure-footed, it's quite nippy. Turning circle's good as well. I always like a nice turning circle. I dream for a nicer turning circle than the one I have in my Volvo. I think it's fair to say that they got this car right. Besides obviously the rear legroom. There's 3 seat belts in the back of there. 3 seat belts, that's for 3 adults. You're going to have to choose the adults you share the back seat with very carefully, because you're going to be rubbing up against their bits. What surprised me most about this particular motor is it doesn't feel that modern. You'd expect it to be completely free of any personality, and it's not really. But the personality's on the inside, not the outside. It's not showing off about anything. It's not trying to be something it isn't, and I appreciate that. When I say the inside, I don't mean the inside of the car, but I mean just in how it drives. It feels like the kind of car you could just happily live with, as long as you didn't need a boot. No wonder they're a popular car. I was expecting this to feel a bit crashy, a bit hard, but actually it has suspension. It's not uncomfortable to drive. And it feels like a small car. Often these manufacturers pride themselves in making small cars feel like big cars to drive. And I think that's a mistake. A small car should be nimble, it should be chuckable, let's say. Is this one chuckable? No, not exactly. I think they haven't over-engineered it. I mean, sure, the body will be heavy and it's got a good NCAP safety rating, etc. But you want it to feel small. And you want it to accelerate. And it does that quite well. I was just about to say that it's a pity it hasn't got lumbar support in the seat, and then I had a feel around and found it did, because it seemed a bit kind of, a bit baggy feeling. There must be so many people around that just don't have bad backs that they neglect to even use it. The conclusion then is a fairly simple one. It's a good little car, and I understand now completely why people with jobs buy one rather than buying an A3. Because if you're sensible enough to be getting up in the morning and doing a job, you're going to be sensible enough to buy a car that does the job rather than something that doesn't as well as this. So thank you very much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, then do press the like on it and subscribe, etc. Only if you want to do, and only if you want to watch all of my other videos should you be watching them. If you don't like them, don't watch them. But let's talk about stop-start. Stop-start is a function on every new car, isn't it? Unless you haven't got an engine to start with, like an electric car. But my worry with this, but as everything is also turbocharged, is that bad for the engine? Especially if you've been clogging it a bit, which I haven't, incidentally. But the stop-start means the engine goes off, which could potentially be not good news for the turbo, given it some time. But then again, cars aren't really designed to last forever anyway, so who cares? Well, I do, because if I put that ignition back on, that heat's going to disappear quickly. The heat out of the engine that I really fancy to get myself warmed up is going to go away because there's nothing making the heat in the first place. And I found something else I'm not too keen on. And that is when you switch the ignition off, back on again, the radio goes back up. Not a lot though, but I want it completely off.